Kody Swanson. We're talking sprint cars. We're talking about the Nashville Speedway. You had one in Berlin last weekend. How'd you guys do?
Third last weekend in Berlin. Been a place that Tyler Rohrig has had really under control, and we've been trying to catch up and still haven't quite figured it out yet. So looking
Well,
forward to trying again.
well, third place isn't really that bad, though. I mean, it's not like, if you're not first or last, is it?
No, no, not really. But shoot, there's a good number of competitors in the 500 Sprint Car Tour that just want to win, right? And I think we're fortunate to be one of them. So that's what you go for. So you always leave a little disappointed if you couldn't accomplish that goal for your team. But like you said, third's not all bad, but we're going to try real hard to win the next one.
Well, we're talking sprint cars. Now, racing has just basically taken over these next couple of weeks here in Nashville. Of course, it's always popular here in Nashville. But you're going to be at the Fairground Speedway this coming weekend, and sprint cars hasn't been there in a long time. It's been a while. Have you had a chance? First, before we even get into the sprint cars, like getting on that speedway, have you, like you've probably never run the speedway at all with sprint cars, have you?
No, not with sprint cars, and I've kind of made a career out of short track open wheel racing with sprint cars, Silver Crown midgets, things like that. But in 2021, I got to do a little bit of late model racing for a period of time, and I did get to run the Nashville Fairground Speedway in a pro late model there with the local series and with the CRA. So I've at least been to the track, but never in the context of a sprint car. And I think it's been like since 2004 since non-wing sprint cars have been there in Nashville. So it's been a little while. I think we've got a few drivers that raced at that event. But for the majority of us, it'll be the first time on the track with the open wheeled cars.
So the sprint cars, they're a little bit different. We've got, of course, a big Indy style car race coming here. Everybody knows NASCAR, that kind of car. Late model. What's the difference between like a NASCAR car and late model and sprint car that you're running? What's the real differences besides the actual look of the cars?
Right. So for maybe the closest connection that sprint cars have would be to Indy cars, in that they are based on the Indy cars of old, the old roadsters of the 50s and 60s, where they're still front engine cars, open wheel, no real downforce on them. So in that regard, they're a little bit like the stock cars are, where we still have the engines in the front, but the majority of it is based on what Indy cars were, all that time ago. Obviously modernized a little bit, and we've got full roll cages and things like that. But that's really the basics of it. So the thing that's really neat is we've got a lot of horsepower, not a lot of weight. So not a lot of traction, but the high banks there at Nashville should make for a really fun, really fast racetrack for us. And hopefully we'll be loud, fast, and out of control, and put on a good show. You watch NASCAR or IndyCar, and they get aero tight or lose aero wash where they can't really run close to each other. But we aren't aero dependent, so we can run right up behind each other and in close quarters, and still race together really hard, really fast. Just with the open wheels, we got to be careful, right? You catch a wheel and you go for a big ride in a hurry. So
Yeah.
it makes it a lot of fun.
So when it comes to drifting, do you guys have drifts with these cars?
Yeah, so these cars we run typically, sprint cars in general run both pavement and dirt tracks. And the dirt, right, we're doing that every corner, every lap. And on pavement, we're not aiming for it, right, to try to turn drifting intentionally or going sideways, but sometimes we can. And these cars are really forgiving that. Like I said, we've got all that horsepower. So if you're spinning the tires on corner exit and it gets out from under you, you can still steer into it a little bit and keep after it and kind of finish the corner that way. Although maybe you'll try something a little bit different the next time by to keep from doing it, but you'll still see it from time to time. We'll be sliding around and on top of the racetrack, so it's kind of fun.
That is. It sounds like a great time. I personally have never watched a sprint car race, so I'm going to be looking forward to it this weekend. I hope you do well. Right now, I think you're like first place, right?
We were going into Berlin, and like I said, Tyler Rohrig had our number there, and I think he passed us back in the points lead. But it's kind of been a seesaw battle so far. But there's a lot of great competitors with the 500 Sprint Car Tour, and this will be a tough race to win, but one I'm looking forward to coming and giving our best shot. Right? It's great to get back to such a cool historic racetrack like the Fairground Speedway. A lot of history there, and looking forward to having sprint cars kind of join that again.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing the sprint cars back at Nashville Fairground Speedway this weekend with you, Kody. Have a great time. Thanks for joining us here today here in the studio.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for including us. I look forward to seeing you out the races.